Hello and welcome to Socioquatic, a one-stop destination for SSLC Social Science. Do you wish to score well in exams? Then you are at the right place. So without any delay, let's get started.
Hello friends, I am Prashant Kumar. Today, let us discuss about economics, third lesson of 10th standard, social science, money and credit. Money, wow, who don't want money? Money is very important and essential thing, very important discovery for our day-to-day transactions, very important one. And to purchase the good, we need money. To sell the good, we need money. And here, just imagine in a machine, wheel is very important discovery. In science, fire is very important discovery. And in politics, vote. And in economics, in social existence of man, money is very essential invention. And everything based on this. All the rest is based on money. So today let us discuss about this money. Okay friends, first let us discuss about the meaning and evolution of money. What is money? Money is anything which is widely accepted as in payment for goods or in discharge of other business obligations. So what is money? Money is anything which is used as medium of exchange, measure of value and store of value. So that is money. As a language we have medium of uh, exchange our feelings. Same way, medium of exchange of goods and services, we need money. So that means money. Okay. And here, how money evolved. Suddenly came, suddenly invented this money what we have. No, it has different stages. How we, the evolution of man, same type evolution of money. Which are the different stages? See here you can see 6 stages are there. Barter system, commodity money, metallic money, paper money, bank money and plastic money. Okay, let us discuss about that. Barter system. What is barter system? So as you know, barter system, in that system, exchange of goods for goods without the use of money. One good to another good, we exchange. No medium of exchange there. Example, if one person need a cow, what he had to do? He has to search. He is having sheep and he has to search the person who is required sheep and having cow. Okay, searching one difficulty. After searching, see, only the person who is having cow, it's not enough. The person who is having cow is ready to sell that and need sheep. Then afterwards, one cow is equal to how many sheep? The calculation not so easy. Yes. So like that, this created big problem between in the economy among the people. Yeah. So this is the problem of barter system. So this barter system cancelled. Then to avoid this problem of barter system, in some countries they used commodity money. Some commodities, some goods are used as money. For example, using some commodities against which goods were exchanged. Example, cattle in Greece. They used cattle as a medium of exchange. If you want to purchase anything, you will give the cattle. Or sheep in Rome. But in China, teeth. Yeah, they use teeth. But here again the problem started. Teeth, which teeth? Okay, tiger teeth. People started to kill the tiger to take the teeth. They will get the money now. So because the teeth is used as money. Yes. And again, cattle or sheep. One cattle, depending upon the age, its value increasing or decreasing. See, that some problems came. And storing very difficult. Cattle will purchase. You will give something and you will get the cattle or sheep. After few years, that cattle will die. You can store that wealth. Is a problem. So that one also cancelled. So because of the difficulties of this commodity money, another type of money came, that is a metallic money. And this metallic money, so there is coins. Precious metals like gold, silver, bronze, etc. began to be used as money. In previous class, you discussed about this. Guptas or Badami Chalukyas, Rashtrakutas. They are Mughals, Delhi Sultans. They issued some coins. Yeah. So there, and in the sources of history, there also you studied the coins, that metals. In the beginning, gold coins, the real value will come. So gold coins, then gold become very costly. Then silver coins came, bronze coin came, steel coins came. Like that, the coins, they are metallic money. Okay. So here, metallic money is very heavy. Just now 5 rupee coin is there. That one you have to carry 10,000 rupee, 1 lakh rupee you want to carry. How much coins you have to carry? You need one vehicle to carry that. So it is difficult. To avoid that, next stage, paper money. Actually here, so notes are printed by the government and have guarantee of the government. It is a paper money. Here what happened, it's a metallic money. To carry that metals, metallic money, the coins, they found very difficult. So the traders began to carry the written document issued by well-known financiers. So there is evidence of the quantity of money. Yes, there is evidence. This much rupee. In a paper they used to write by the financial, like affidavit or stamp paper. So like they will write in it and they will send it. Only carrying that paper, that's enough. And that written document is not the actual money, but were accepted as exchange for money. For money they can exchange it. When such documents, whatever the paper document is, so such documents were issued by the government, they were called promissory notes or currency notes. Okay. Then later what happened? Central bank established by the government and they started to print the notes. In different countries, different types of notes. The names are different. For example, in India, rupee, dollar in USA, pound in England, in Europe, euro, and in Japan, yen, yuan in China. So like the different countries have different names for their currency. So that is the paper money. Next, bank money came. What is bank money? Instrument issued by the bankers like check, draft, deposit receipts, etc. called bank money. Okay, so check, 10 lakh rupee check. That paper actually. It's not currency. The paper, check. The value of that 10 lakh rupee. So that is a bank money. Draft, demand draft, DD, what we say. So like that. And deposit receipts, bonds. So okay. So this is the one type. And again, carrying money very difficult because someone may steal that. So to avoid these carrying the cashless transactions nowadays very common. What is that? Plastic money. The plastic money came. Recent one, plastic money. What is plastic money? The credit card and debit card issued by the bank. Yeah. So they are plastic money. And there you have to carry only that one, and you have to swipe that and enter your PIN, personal identification number. Have to press and you can conduct the transactions. And it is through electronic means, so it is called as e-money. Yes, whatever the transactions we do through credit card and debit card, it is through electronic means, so it is called as e-money. Yes, so this is through credit card. Next, Google Pay came, and many different in fingertips it is. Mobile banking came, uh, Paytm came. So like the different one came. So next stage that one. So like this evolution of money. Okay. So next we have to move to the functions of money. Which are the functions? Functions of money totally divided into two: primary functions and secondary functions. Under primary functions, first one, medium of exchange or means of payment. Money is used as a medium of exchange. For selling or buying goods, we use money as the medium. So it is a medium of exchange. And measure of value. The price of any goods and services can be expressed in terms of money. Yes, it is divisible also. For example, 1 kg, 1 quintal, half a kg, 200 gram, 1 gram. So for everything value we can measure the value. It is possible. So it's very useful. That is a function of money, primary functions of money. Medium of exchange or means of payment and measure of value. Let us come to the secondary function. The standard of deferred payment. What is this? So the money uses the future transactions too. For example, a borrower is under an obligation to pay a specific sum of money on the future date, specified future date. Same way, you can purchase any good and you can make the payment in the future. It is possible. So that is a function of money. Through money it is possible. So that is called as the facilities. Such future facilities for the future payment is called a standard of deferred payments. Then store of value. See, the cattle, etc., you can't store it, but money you can store it. By storing, the value will be there in future also. Yeah, your wealth can be stored, so it is a benefit. Yes, another one, transfer of value. We can transfer the purchasing power of a person, one person to another person, you can transfer. Same value. Nowadays, within a fraction of a second from here to another country, you can transfer money, one place to another place. In the trade and commerce, it is very easy, and because of this transfer of value, trade and commerce improved and expanded. That is the transfer of value. These are the main functions of money. Two functions, primary functions and secondary functions. Two primary functions and three secondary functions. Next, let us move to the bank. What are banks? So here first we have to see what is banking company. According to Indian Banking Regulation Act of 1949, any company which transacts the business of banking in India is called banking company. Any company which transacts the business of banking, that is called as banking company. Okay, what is banking then? Accepting public deposits for the purpose of lending or investment, repayable on demand or withdrawable by check, draft order, etc. is called banking. So simple explanation. It will accept the deposit for the purpose of lending loan or investment, and the person who deposited money, when he asked that, when he required that, this bank will be responsible to repay that. So that is the banking. Okay, so this is about the banking company and banking. Now in India, banking system consists of the State Bank of India and 20 public sector commercial banks are there. Regional rural banks are there. Private sector banks, cooperative societies. These are the banking system in India. Okay. Next we have discussed about what is the importance of bank. Why bank is important one? Yes, definitely. Very important one. Banks play an important role in economic development. In the economy, bank is very important. How? This money play very important. Money is the lifeblood of business. Capital or money is the lifeblood of business. And here, who will supply the money? Who will play a very important role in that one? Bank. So economic development, in the economic development, mobilize the savings of the public. Savings of the public, they will accept the deposit and they will use that one in investment or lending loans, etc. So mobilize the savings, otherwise it will be in the house dead money. Now it is used, that money can be used, that may become a huge capital. Helps in the process of capital formation, just now I told. For example, I have 1 lakh rupee, another person have 10 lakh rupee, another person have 50,000 rupee, another one 10,000 rupee. Total they will keep in a bank. Totally it become a huge amount. So which creates capital formation. That will help in the investment and development of the economy. Provide a convenient way of transfer of money. Yeah. To transfer of money, a convenient way it is. And offer higher rates of interest on fixed deposit. To increase the savings, they will show the higher rates of interest on the fixed deposits. By that, more and more money will be accumulated and a huge capital formation possible. Give loans to the public. From the deposit, whatever accepted from the people, those who need, for them they will give the loan. The person who want the loan, he don't have to search everywhere. Who are ready to give money don't have to go directly, has to go to the bank. If you have extra money, you can keep in the bank. Between depositor and the borrower, bank acts as a mediator. Discount the bills of exchange. Discount the bills of exchange. So it is a separate topic actually, the discounting bills. And many times what happens, banks, you need money at that time. So the bank, they will keep your goods with you. For example, 10,000 rupee goods it will keep, and 8,000 rupee they will give for loan as a bill. And you can use that bill to give to others. And by keeping that bill, someone will give loan, the bank will give loan. So discount that 2,000 rupee discounting. Discount the bill of exchange. They lend money to agriculture, industry and service activities. See here, all the three sectors came. Agriculture, primary sector, industry, secondary sector, service sector, etc., tertiary sector. For three sectors also which lend money to improve these three sectors, it will help. Issue demand drafts, DD, credit cards, debit cards, etc. Invest the funds on securities of the government. So investment also it will do. So by that, totally the first point, it will come important role in the economic development of the country. So these are the importance of banks. Next, among the banks, we have to discuss about Central Bank of India. That is RBI, Reserve Bank of India. On 1st April 1935, the RBI was established. And this RBI was nationalized on 1st January 1949. 1935, April 1st, established, and 1st January 1949, which was nationalized. So next we have to discuss about the functions of RBI, important one. What are the functions? First one, monopoly of note issue. So RBI has the monopoly of issuing currency notes of rupees 2 and above, 5 rupee, 10 rupee, 20 rupee, 100 rupee, or 50 rupee, 100 rupee, 200 rupees, 500, 2000 rupees, etc. But 1 rupee is issued and circulated by the RBI on behalf of the central government. 1 rupee central government. Okay, so it is having the monopoly of issuing currency notes. Next function, banker of the government. For the government, one bank necessary. So this RBI acts as a bank. RBI accepts the deposits of central and the state governments. Collect money, for example, taxes and other charges will be collected by the RBI. And also makes payments on behalf of government. Issue government bonds, treasury bills, and also acts as financial advisor to the government. Yeah, and also RBI extends loans advances to the central and state governments. So acts as the banker of the government. Next, banker's bank. So it is like emperor, king of kings, emperor. Same way, bank of banks, banker's bank. And here, all the banks of the country have to keep predetermined part and their deposits as reserve with the RBI. Decided reserves they have to keep, deposit they have to keep, all the banks with the Reserve Bank of India. Whenever banks need additional money, RBI provides credit to them. It regulates the activities of the banks and guide them in monetary management. So it acts as a banker's bank. A national clearing house. This RBI acts as a national clearing house for settlement of transactions across the banks. Between the banks, any transactions through RBI it will go. RBI will do that. So this way helps banks to settle their interbank claims easily. Okay, so national clearing house. Controller of credit. Credit controlling measures next the same lesson we will study about that. And mainly amount of credit issued by the banks will be controlled or regulated according to the monetary situation, inflation, deflation, etc. Let us discuss in the same lesson next point. Okay, so that is a credit controller, controller of credit. Next, custodian of foreign exchange reserves. So here RBI is also the custodian of foreign exchange reserves of the country, through which manages the foreign exchange rates in order to reduce the fluctuations of economy or the exchange rates. So it resorts to buying and selling of foreign currencies to avoid the fluctuation. So it resorts to buying and selling of foreign currencies. So like that, foreign exchange custodian. Next, the promotion of banking habits. Here, RBI promotes savings through branch expansion. So expanding the branches of the bank wherever the unbanked areas, in that areas open the branches of the banks and support them to develop the banking habits. Yes, these are the main functions of RBI. Next, we have discussed about regulation of money. Yes, regulation of money supply. And here, so mainly because the savings can be Withdrawn. Savings can be withdrawn at a short notice. So for people, they will save money and they can withdraw that with a short notice from the bank. And bank is liable to pay on demand. When the depositor demanded, they have to give. They will deposit money on demand, they can get it. So such deposits are called as demand deposits. But some other deposits are there, they are having fixed period of time. Yes, fixed period of time for maturity. So such deposits are called as time deposits. Yes, so these two. And this currency and demand deposits form the total money in circulation. Okay. And how to find the total money, how much? To measure. So here, 4 measures of money supply to measure the monetary stock. How much monetary stock in the country? To measure, 4 methods are, 4 measuring rods are there. M1, M2, M3, M4. M1, that one is equal to currency notes and coins plus net demand deposits held in the commercial banks. That is M1. Demand deposit, what's demand deposit? I told. Currency notes and coins plus net demand deposits held in commercial banks. Next, M2. This one, M1 plus savings deposits with the post office savings bank. Okay. M3, M1 plus net time deposits of commercial banks. Now demand deposit plus time deposit, both came. Okay. M4. M4 means M1, M3 and plus this one. See M3 means M1 plus net deposit, net time deposit. M3 plus total deposits with the post office saving banks. M4 means full it came. All these three also came. And here M1 and M2 are referred as narrow money and M3 and M4 are referred as broad money. So like this, 2 types. Okay. And here apart from this money supply, the banks engage in credit creation, which are the total money available in the economy. And here sometimes what happens, the price will increase. When the supply of money increases, the demand increases. When demand increases, price increases. But mild increase in the price is like a tonic to the economy. It's a very important one. Profit necessary for the producers. But when it increases, when it crosses the limit, then it becomes inflation. That is more dangerous. Yeah, drinking milk is good for health. But if you drink 1 bucket of milk, it is harmful to your health. So one limit is there. Ati sarvatra varjayat. Too much is too bad. Same way. And so to control this, to regulate this price situation, if the price is less, that is also dangerous. It's very difficult to meet the cost of production. So RBI varies the supply of currency by changing or varying the supply of currency which regulate this price level. The measures taken to regulate credit, overall money supply in the economy and interest rates are together called monetary policy of the RBI. So let us discuss about the credit control measures. Credit control measures of RBI, how it controls the credit. So credit control measures are of 2 types. Quantitative credit control measures and qualitative credit control measures. So first of all, let us discuss about the quantitative credit control measures. In that first point, bank rate policy. Here, by changing the bank rate, it is possible to control. Okay. And here you have to remember, higher the bank rate and lower the credit creation, and vice versa. And many times what happens, the RBI also varies the repo rate and reverse repo rate. What is repo rate? The money provided by the RBI to the commercial banks to control the inflation is, so that is repo rate. Reverse repo rate, not giving, taking back the money from the commercial bank, RBI will take back. It's reverse repo rate. So here, one thing we have to remember, inflation, price is very high. There is inflation. At that time, the RBI, it will take the money back and it will increase the rate of interest for the deposit and also rate of interest for the loan. By that, what happens, when the rate of interest is more for the deposits, people start to deposit money in the bank. And for the loan, rate of interest is more, people will reduce to borrow money from the bank. As a result, the flow of money comes under control. When we have money in our pocket, our demands will be more. When demand is more, price will be more. Now money not there, flow of money controlled, demand decreases and price decreases. Inflation comes under control. So another situation, just observe, the price level comes down. Supply of goods more, price level very less. People start to store money. Demand not there. Price is less than cost of production. At that time, the banks decrease the rate of interest on deposits as well as the loans. At that time, people don't want to keep money in the bank because the rate of interest is very less, and they want to take more loans because rate of interest is less. So they will invest that money in different places. Instead of keeping money in the bank, we can invest in other areas. As a result, what happens? Flow of money increases, and the flow of money increases, demand increases, automatically price also increases. Like this, the bank RBI will control through exchange rates, repo rates and credit rates, credit creation. So higher rate of bank rate increases, bank rate decreasing, etc. How much a bank will keep the deposit in the RBI, depending upon that, controlling the flow of money. So thereby affecting their capacity to lend money. That is the bank rate. Open market operation. Open market operation is buying and selling of government securities by the central bank. Yes, and here it will control the flow of money by selling the government securities to the bank or purchasing the banking securities from the bank. So totally flow of money will be controlled. So there is the open market operation. Varying reserve requirements, legal reserve ratio. Here, banks are obliged to maintain reserves with the central bank. A certain amount they have to keep reserve in the central bank. So that is two types. One, cash reserve ratio and statutory liquidity ratio. Cash reserve ratio and statutory liquidity ratio. What is cash reserve ratio? The ratio of their deposits which the banks are required to keep with the RBI. The ratio of their deposits which the banks are required to keep with the RBI is called as cash reserve ratio. Certain amount they have to keep. And statutory liquidity ratio, the minimum cash. Yes, the minimum, one limit is there, the minimum that much they have to keep. Cash which the banks have to keep with themselves. as a ratio of their deposits is called statutory liquidity ratio. If it is with them, it is liquidity is there, no, they can use it. Minimum reserve they have to keep with them. Cash reserve ratio with RBI. Okay, so like this. So through by varying this cash reserve ratio and statutory liquidity ratio, the RBI can vary the lending capacity of the bank. Okay, so I hope you understood. Next, quantitative credit control measures. In that, first point, change in lending margin. Here, collateral security is required for obtaining a loan. On security, we have to keep something. While taking loan, bank will ask the security. And the percentage value of that security, they will vary from depending upon the situation. What is the percentage value of security required to be kept with the bank for getting loan is called the margin. Yes. So margin against a particular security is reduced or increased in order to encourage or discourage the flow of credit. That is another method, qualitative. Okay. So in that second one, ceiling on credit or credit rationing. Ceiling on credit or credit rationing. And RBI fix the maximum amount of credit given to a particular person or particular sector. Maximum, you should not give more than this. They will limit. Here, that rationing or maximum limit may vary. If they want to distribute money to many people, maximum limit they will reduce. Don't want, they will increase. So like that. Okay, so that is ceiling on credit or credit rationing. Moral suasion. Here, many times banks, instead of getting the interest, only getting interest, not only getting profit, to increase some moral values in the economy, it will to create such activities which will invest, no, which will give money. So that is called as moral suasion. By that economy, the value of the economy, moral value of the economy increases. So that is moral suasion. And next, direct action, direct control. The direct control consists of the measures taken by the central bank against the commercial banks and the financial institutions. So that is direct action. So these are the qualitative credit control measures. So this is about the credit control measures of RBI. So anyway, in the economy, bank play very important role. So bank means money, money means bank. Yeah. So I hope you understood all these things. So let us save money and support the bank, and banking habits let us develop. Thank you. Thank you very much.